Hi, welcome back. If you didn't see part one, this won't mean a lot to you. Anyway, initially I talked about various tools and fittings for swaging. I'll move on a little bit from that. Can't remember what a lot of these tools are, what I made them for. That's a little tank cutter. I made that up to cut these circles. I didn't have a punch that size in aluminium alloy. And I wanted them to make a butterfly capacitor, high voltage capacitor for a magnet loop I was making. And it done the job well. Well, I spent a day making that. And 2 days later I went to a boot sale and I found that one. And it was £1, I think. I think it was about £1. And it's nice because it's got really nice adjustment on it. But then I didn't know that. It's got made in England, but there's no other name on it. It's a commercial made one. But rather nice, I thought. I haven't heard what that is yet from anyone. While I was making the mag loop, that's it, drop it, I needed airspace coils, and I dug that out the other day and I thought, what the hell is that? And I made it up years ago. I thought, why have I got all these holes drilled here? What is it? Some sort of clamp? And then I remembered I put plastic through and used this as a guide. And if you've seen my video, Airspace Coils, you'll know that this was made, this was the initial idea of the plastic strips for the coil to be wound on, just in case you're wondering. This is an interesting tool, probably not used much nowadays. It's electric. You lift that handle up, this lifts up, and it's a hot plate, a little squeezy hot plate. It's 100 watts, I think. It's for making sanding belt for joining them. Well, that's what I used it for. And this swivels, and that clamps down, and then lifting the handle up, that goes over the top. It's one of these over the top devices, and you can adjust on there the pressure, and it's got a thermostat built in, and of course you use thermosetting glues, hot melt glues. I haven't used this for a while. Who is it made by? Who is it? Habersit. Oh, Habersit. And there's an adjustment for temperature in there. But nowadays, of course, you can use polyester glass reinforced adhesive type tape. You'll see the information on that on one of my other videos. Some guy, come over here, some guy asked me about cut-off saw I made, and how suitable it would be for cutting the geometry of lathe tools. And I said if he goes to a decent engineer supplier, he can get cut-off blades, and he can get these, which are what, 10 inches in diameter? That thin! Mind you, you've got to be very careful with them. I shouldn't even do that. They easily break, so they can't be used freehand, but if put in a machine, I think they're diamond impregnated all the way through, I think. Anyway, I'll make a machine up for that one day. Possibly a lapidary, can't pronounce it, lapidary machine, cutting stones, this sort of thing, would be quite interesting. You'd have to use a coolant. That's a thought. That's another project. For every project I complete, 6 more build up. Crazy, isn't it? What's this? This I made up a long while ago. This again was on my coil winding video, I believe. Done so many I can't remember now. This is a simple wire stripper. It's nothing more than an adjustment there, and the wire comes through a guide there, and there's a blade there, and these are roller bearings, and as fast as you can pull the wire through, the Stanley blade cuts the outer sheath. I remember I did quite a lot in coil winding. Went to a local dump with the plastic. I was going to chuck it in the dump. The bloke says, "Oi, oi, oi, I'll have that." He says, "I'll have that." Anyway, he walked closer and I handed him this enormous coil of plastic wire, and he said, "Oh, you've stripped it." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, that's trade waste. You can't drop." I said, "It wasn't trade waste when you come running after me thinking there was copper in it." Anyway, he let me off that one. Trade waste. I don't know. We got rid of Hitler and ended up with loads of little ones. While we're on stripping, this is quite a neat little tool. It's made by Radio Spares. It's for stripping wire. And you've got that shape, which is sprung loaded. And you've got a button there that you push. And I don't know if my camera will show this. I'll try and get right in. But there's a little tiny blade. Yes, there is. At the end. And when you push the button, it turns 90 degrees. And you can adjust this knurling nut to how far the blade sticks into the insulation. And you push the button and whoosh, slide it along, and you cut the outer sleeve of wire. And the fact that it's at 90 degrees means you can turn it round and make a neat end. I haven't used that for years. That's rather neat, nice little tool. What else have we got? Various mandrels and things. I can't remember what I made those for. Something or other. This is a nice tool. This is I'm in the way here, look. This is a ratchet two-wheel guillotine shear, call it what you will. This design is nice because you're not limited to how far what length of sheet you can put through. It's better than just a normal blade guillotine. Sykes and Pickavant. Well, that name rings a bell. That's had many years' use. These are very nice. They give a far superior finish than snippers. You know, the sheet cutters. What else we got? All sorts of stuff here. Pullers. Seals and stuff. Those I pulled out of a skip, and there's something to do with dentistry. Anyway, they're beautiful little stones, pointed stones. I think it's something to do with dentistry. Anyway, they've got a nice little thread in the end, and I made up a small adapter to go in my Dremel. There was boxes of these things. Very, very handy for small work, hobby work. While I'm on the chucked in the skip, you're not going to believe it, but so was they chucked in a skip. Can you believe it? Beautiful counterbores. You've got the rows, different size rows cutters, and then you've got the central part down the casting, and then you've got come out because you've got a T section in there. These can all be intermingled. That fits in there when you've undone that screw, that is. Little set screw, that drops that way then. And you can counterbore cylinder heads and so forth. And there's numerous shapes of those. Some are cone shape. I don't know what that would cost, but it was in a skip. My brother-in-law found it. He said, that's something to do with engineering. He said, thought you might be interested in that. Thank you very much. What else is there? Let's have a look in here. Oh, that's something I haven't used for a long while. That's a handy little... When I used to do boat work, we was doing a lot of Formica laminate in this galley area. And this was an indispensable tool. It's brilliant. You've got a simple little cutter here, which you can change around when it gets blunt, and you score through and you can break the Formica material. But you've got a nice little rounded end to go along the edges, and you've got adjustment here marked off in millimeters, how far you want it from the edge of the material. You've got a scrapery bit here, and you've got for snapping off sections, you've got a little slot this end. It's only made out of plastic, and it's made by Eclipse. How about that? People who make the hacksaw blades. Only plastic, and I don't like plastic, but that's a handy little tool, but I haven't used that in 20 years. It'll come in handy one day. I've got quite a few clock dials for machining. Over the years I've picked them up, stands and things. But I'll pick that up when I can open the box. Isn't that dinky and pretty? All the tools you could possibly want. And if I'm careful with it, it's a sideway force one. Really like that. I need my glasses on to work that one. Talk about sideway force, I picked these up. He says, how many tools you got? Well, we're looking at a lifetime here. This is a force meter. You see who makes that. And that's quite nice. What's particularly nice about it is it's got a carry up dial. Let's take it out of the box. So when force is applied, wrong way, whatever force that might be, and then released, like the tension of a spring, you can read off the force required to move it. That's very nice. Made in Sweden. Where else? Pays to look after them. Judging by the amount of tools and bits and pieces I pick up that come in absolutely rusty, broken, that people throw out. But it's possible to recover a lot, which is where I get most of mine from, of course. Anyway, I hope you found that little waffle helpful. Let's move on.